Is it thy... Now. Ah, my...
Ah, were you guided here by kindly Mikula? I am Leda. And like you, I was guided by faith along his honorable path. Touch the way to the realm, my companion like us, if you can find.
I need to get a few things. I need the Great Katana, and I need the Blessed Blue talisman. Is this guy a Lord of Frenzy? I forget. Howdy, partner. Hey, Rusty, how's it going? I won't play Elden Ring too long. I just need to get a few things, and then I'll switch over to sculpting. I've already spent enough time in the lands of shadow and the lands between. Might do a few co-op missions while I'm sculpting, but other than that, probably not a lot. This is a fresh character. Well, not exactly a fresh one. It's a character I've never taken into the DLC yet, but it's one of the characters that I prepped for the DLC. I have a number of them. Before I talk to these NPCs.
Ah, you're that tarn. I am Frey in battle. Did you speak? If you've yet, you'll find more. They are Mikkel.
I really don't like FromSoft's quest system. It's just so rigid. If you don't talk to someone for like a few appearances, they die. You never get their loot.
As long as you...
But the Great Katana should be just lying on the ground over here somewhere. And then the Blessed Blue is up that way. I don't. It's true. I've already played enough Elden Ring. I don't need more Elden Ring in my life. I just miss playing a bit of co-op with Elden Ring. Like I was playing some Monster Hunter. I'm like, man, you know what this game needs is some PvP. That's what Monster Hunter needs. When you're out there hunting I wanted to say Radagon. Not Radagon, what's that? When you're out there hunting a monster, like a basil goose or something. There it is. Like You need to be invaded by PvP. Otherwise, like, you know you're gonna win anyway. Give me a sec. Rusty, watch my character. Make sure he doesn't die. I'm gonna go AFK for a sec. Okay, I'm back. Am I going the right way? I think I am. I should probably pick these up. Shadow Tree fragments. Oh, more NPCs to talk to.
You must be. I
Hans
am
Bach.
now like I'm hardy, which is why to discern. I'd rather. They are kid. If you discover certain, I presume.
Rusty, do you remember if there's like any lag when I was playing this game before?
Together, many things.
Like, was it getting a very stuttery? Kind of like when I play like Destiny 2 or Space Marines 2. Was it getting that, like stream lag? Because I don't remember. I don't think I was. Must be like their rendering techniques. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought. It's just like the really CPU intensive, higher than 60 FPS games. I think it's because Elden Ring is like locked at 60 FPS. You can't go any higher than that with this game, unless you download mods. Pretty sure that's why. Is there a pot hanging over here somewhere? Oh, it's the other. I passed it already. Can I make this jump first try? After all this time. Still have it. Kind of. Alright, swap this out for the Blessed Blue. And then we'll put the, there we go. Grab that because I can. Right. That's all I need. I could go and get... I kind of like doing Castle Ensis. Is that Castle Ensis? I forget. So I'll go grab the summon spot there. Oh, I need to do Ashes of War. I'll do that later. There's a trebuchet, isn't there? Ballista? Right, hide behind something. Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm currently at Shadow Tree level 0, so I get 3 shot at these mobs. So we can get some. Oh wait, hold on. Let's go level up this katana, great katana of mine. Basically, this katana should be my get off me button. I can like use it one-handed, and then I'll put an Ash of War on it. We'll do, what's it called? Stormcaller. Yeah, there we go. Stormcaller. I guess cold and bleed should be pretty good for PvP. So if they come near, I'll just do that. I'll just whip it out. But basically, this is a ranged build. What level is my... What do I need for this? Smithing stone. Okay. So, plus 18, that's my level. Oh, I'm out of smithing stone 3. I should have all the bell bearings. At least the smithing stone ones. That's somber. Okay, that should be enough. Oh, I should buy some more crab too. Getting low.
Well, I took you no matter to lay out your own.
And 18. Okay. Guess we'll hang out at... We'll hang out with Moore and Hansbach. It's a pretty safe place to hang out. Should be at least. That's a pretty freaking good get off me button, I'd say. Alright, let's get some work done. Do a few co-op missions. Just a few. Not a lot. I won't get sucked in like last time. I think we've been summoned. We have, okay. Deep root depths, alright.
Hey!
This is the sort of mock PvP and PC fight, I think. Let's see how our damage is. Oh, it doesn't even go that far. Oops. He is champion. Got a laggy Circe. Connection's not very good. Let's get Tessar, get off me, button. Ah, he's not close enough. Ah. That's the lagging a bit much. There we go. Yeah, it works pretty well. The hyper armor is very good, considering I'm like wearing a fucking robe. Ah! Oh look, he's floating with that. Curious. Alright. Well done. I wonder what FromSoft is working on next. What are they working on now? I wonder. I mean, it's been a while since the Elden Ring DLC, so I'm sure they have a plan already. I'm sure they're working on at least the fundamentals. What's that? I got a notification. Oh. Let's go watch some sensationalist news.
I have to begin today's video with a quote. Here it is. A death sentence for gaming. Now, those are not my words.
Shit.
Those are words from the man who oversaw software at PlayStation. He's Sean Layden.
Death
He began
sentence for
working
games.
in games in PlayStation before I was born. And from 1987 to 2001, he rose up the ranks and he became the chairman of PlayStation Studios. So he is a well-respected guy who has seen all of it from the inside, from just about the beginning, and he is seeing problems in today's industry. He said this: if we're just going to rely on blockbusters to get us through, I think that's a death sentence. And of course, he worked through the rise of the Sony blockbuster, so I dare say that Sean actually knows what he's talking about. Today's story happened because Sean Layden did a panel with Raw Fury's chief publishing officer, and in that he outlines essentially how screwed much of gaming is. Here's how he put it: we're seeing a collapse of creativity in games today.
Give me a second. I need to get my comments. I need to pop out my comments. Whee! You guys go over here.
Video consolidation and high cost of production. Yeah, a collapse in creativity, and I think that's something we've all felt. Certainly, if you looked at, say, PS2 to PS3, from 3 to 4 and 4 to 5, in terms of games, yeah, there is less creativity. Less creativity is possible, and if it were only up to the big publishers, we would be in trouble. Layden explains it like this. The entry cost for AAA games is in the 3-digit millions. Now, this reduces risk tolerances such that the finance guy, and this is how he put it, the finance guy who draws the line will say, if Fortnite makes this amount in that amount of time, my Fortnite knockoff can make this in that amount of time. And yeah, hyperbole, but his point stands of a lot of trend chasing and not that much creativity. And even to take Fortnite clone literally, we've had Spellbreak, Realm Royale, Radical Heights, Darwin Project, Hyperscape, Rumbleverse, Final Fantasy VII, The First
That's
Soldier,
like the soap
Battlefield,
maker.
Firestorm, and
That's like the soap making CEO logic there.
many dead before release projects, and on top of that, the many projects that were mangled to try to trace those trends. Looking at you, Battlefield 2042 and your launch edition. And on the topic of sequels, well, we all know that new IP is absolutely on the downtrend. So Layden's point is that slowly but surely these financial pressures mean that part of the ecosystem is dying out. And the sad thing is, if you're one of the younger viewers in this channel, you probably never saw that ecosystem when it was healthy. Now, you see, much of Sean's point is the past was not defined by blockbusters, and obviously live services barely existed. Here's a quote. That middle layer that used to be where Interplay, Gremlin, Ocean, THQ, all of those companies made their money is gone. And there's a very good chance you may not even know most of those names. The idea of Interplay and Westwood Studios, that may not exist in your head because by now it is a bygone era. Today he outlines you either become a big AAA and survive, or you go indie and be interesting, but that AA, middle level of scale is gone. And the reason why is simple. First-party blockbusters created huge-budget, tech-forward titles that raise people's expectations, and PlayStation set that standard. The big first parties keep pushing that to try to get their system sellers, and then the third parties struggle to keep up, and they're forced to optimize hard. And when we look at third-party publishers, we see that in their output. Take-Two Interactive are the sports and GTA Online people, at least in terms of where the money comes from. And even for a recent story, we literally saw how GTA 5's story DLC died. Activision transformed from its old self that used to make so many games in so many genres into a Call of Duty machine. Electronic Arts ran the Battlefield franchise into the ground. They killed the Medal of Honor franchise, all in an attempt to try to ape Call of Duty. They happened to luck out with Respawn Entertainment. They drove BioWare into a lost decade, but happened to have their asses saved by the likes of sports, Sims, and a few safe bets. With a track record like that, it's fair to say that the arts bit very much took the back seat. Money soon flowed into fewer IPs and larger games, and that raises a simple question. Why would you incur the risk of creating something from nothing when you can just exploit an asset that you already have? That's why the third parties went that way. Now, the democratization of tools has opened up the indie space, but soaring costs have raised the floor beyond what AA used to be. Sean Layden puts it this way in his talk, quote, "When I started, games cost 7 to 8 million to make and you could charge $59.99. Now they cost 150 million, but there's no price elasticity, so you can only charge $59.99. And I know as a consumer, that might feel a bit odd sometimes. You feel like you're not getting the best creative output of the industry, yet the prices are still fairly high. But when we run the numbers, we do see at least some of what Sean is saying here. So, number one, let's update his current day price to $69.99. Now, his example of the industry's
Okay, I
younger
guess
days
that's good
would
enough.
have 133,000 units at $59.99, breaking even on what he said the cost of development would be. But of course, a third-party publisher could expect to receive about 50% of the sale price, especially when you're taking retail into account, so we'll update that to 266,000 units. That's how much you need to break even. What about a modern title then that is selling on a 70-30 split on a digital storefront, which is in fact a better split than in the past? Well, at $69.99 on a budget of 150 million, you would need to sell 3 million copies at full price to break even. which is obviously extremely hard. And even if you're Sony for, say, Spider-Man 2, where you're not dealing with a 70-30 split because it's your own damn platform and it's a system seller, well, you still need to sell 7 million copies of your game to break even. And yet it's with games like that that these companies have tried to manage their risk, and it's why they've consolidated into the few big bets rather than many different smaller risks. And part of this is because companies think they need to go big to stand out, right? That's what they need for mass appeal. And we know that's almost always in the form of absurdly expensive, flashy graphics, not exactly gameplay. Now, indie games can go big, but the problem is few indie publishers can drop the 20 to 40 million on a game that would be more in line with what a AA in today's market could actually cost. And that's what leaves us in this crumbling state, with the incumbent first parties doing their big massive games and third parties no longer having the large diversified strategy of the past, but instead consolidating into live services and IP that they already have. And that's why Sean laments the old days. He says this: "We asked a simple question, is it fun? Are we having a good time? If you said yes to those questions, you'd usually get the green light. You didn't worry so much about the end piece, for better or worse." And that may seem completely insane in terms of how you're spending your money as a publisher, but think for a second of the unit economics that I mentioned earlier, of how these games publishers were able to just publish so many more games than today. Risk was diluted because yes, they were taking many bets, but they were smaller bets. And the creative death spiral that Layton spoke of is because that no longer exists in the big publishers. You don't get a Call of Duty Black Ops 6 without doing Call of Duty 1. So many of today's incumbents started off as small, measured risks, the sorts of things that those big publishers no longer think they need to bother with. And a lot of that is Layton's big point, that the industry is not healthy when it's consolidated into mega hits. But that's not to say this is purely just wisdom from someone who's been in the industry for a long time. He does have a job, he has a horse in this race. He is now strategic advisor to Tencent, and this was all part of Gamescom Asia. So it's no surprise that Tencent's strategy in many places does line up with Sean's advice. Here's the thing with Tencent. Yes, they absolutely are a humongous megacorp conglomerate. In games, though, they are shockingly diversified in the West, and they're actually deep in AA. They've been investing heavily in indies and established niche players. That means examples like Paradox Interactive, Frontier Developments, Platinum, of course, the character action game people, Fat Shark and Jaeger, along with many other studios. And they were also able to jump onto things like Riot Games and Grinding Gear Games. They basically snapped up those
Grinding Gear
disruptors and took AAA by surprise. And while we think about, say, the Battle Royale graveyard of today, that's just because we've forgotten about the MOBA graveyard, where absolutely everybody tried to get their slice of the MOBA. There was even a Lord of the Rings MOBA from Electronic Arts. Yeah,
oh, I heard about
weird.
that. How's
Tencent's
that
whole point
working?
essentially is to have a little bit of everything so that they capture underlying sector-wide growth.
Wait, never
rather
mind.
than
That's a
just
different
gambling
game.
on the
I was
mega
thinking about
hits.
something
And you
else.
can think of so many analogies, be it putting a lot of money into a new crypto coin that looks really hot, or maybe betting big in some deep dive thesis into a company because, hey, you saw the GameStop stuff and you think maybe Bed Bath & Beyond will be the next thing. You could do that, or you could just invest in something like the Vanguard All World Index or the S&P 500, examples that are diversified that get you market-wide growth. That's a pretty sane risk-adjusted strategy, and you can see why
Let's
Tencent
remove the
would take a
leather
similar
here and
approach
just like
within
encase
games.
it
Now,
in
all of this seems like common sense. The
chitin.
problem of our industry being so consolidated in its financials into these mega hits is obviously a problem. But what the hell is a AA game? Who the hell is making them? Well, it turns out that while Sean is lamenting the death of something,
The less
I
A's
think
you
he's
have, the
missing out
better.
on something because he is tied to his perspective and how he has seen the industry grow. My end message is actually far more optimistic. It just doesn't really involve the old school incumbents anymore. What Layden laments the death of is low-key thriving, just in a different way. To sample Tencent's non-AAA titles, you've got Jurassic World Evolution, Planet Coaster 2, Vermintide 2, Darktide, and many others. We asked our Discord for AA's, and, well, a lot of things came up. CRPG hits came up, like Disco Elysium, the output of Owlcat, or even Obsidian pre their Microsoft acquisition. Lots of CRPGs. Mechabellum came up, but one thing then became very clear. Many Embracer Group-owned studios. That's games like Remnant 2, Evil West, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which makes a lot of sense. Kingdom Come Deliverance and Remnant were massively outsized premium indie, maybe you could call them AA hits. Take a look at Flying Wild Hog, they're basically a AA action game machine. And if you know the industry's history, well, Embracer have so many AA IPs because they consumed the corpse of the previous AA games leader, THQ. There are so many ways in which Embracer genuinely looked great. We were even getting a new Gothic game. Well, a remake of Gothic, pretty damn amazing. But of course, that wasn't all exactly to last.
too
The Embracer
bad.
Group grew
I
irresponsibly
would've wanted to
fast,
play a
and they did
remake of
so
Gothic.
based on finances that were not as rock solid as they thought, such that when the Saudi-owned Savvy Games Group pulled out, well, Embracer basically had to cut off bits of itself to survive, and that did cause irreparable damage to other studios. But going broad and beyond there, a recent game is Clair Obscura Expedition 33. That's being praised because it's targeting 30 plus hours of gameplay, and it's going to be $50, which is getting a bit closer to what maybe the ideal AA title could be. Well, that's not to say that AA is a magical formula for success. Another company often held up here are Don't Nod. They made, as an example, Life is Strange. They're held up as a AA example, but it's not really went amazingly for them lately. Banisher's Ghost of New Eden is 84%
Oh
in
yeah,
Steam.
Life
Just saw
is Strange. I saw an artist post their stuff about that
is
recently.
94% on Steam, but neither of those games performed well financially, and now they've had to delay 2 projects, and there
very
is layoff
interesting.
risk at the company. And worse still, this is happening in a funding environment that is extremely challenging these days.
Thanks for the video in the corner so I can pay attention to the stream. Look, no one's talking, so I'm just gonna my stream isn't for entertainment, it's just for me to work on the project. I'm sorry. It's games
Tom Raven
related.
is seeing a lot of this from a supply side. I think
games
there is
related,
a demand
trust me,
side
it's not
fix,
off
but it's a
topic.
demand side fix that is absolutely in a lot of trouble because of the attention economy. Right now, we buy AAA games that, because of their $150+ million budget and $70 price point, have to be
Okay, he's wrapping up. We'll just like we'll hide that. Man, people don't like it when I play videos on the. I played like Asmongold before, and I got like a downvote on my on one of my videos for that. Pretty sure. Like, I don't like Asmongold. To be fair, Asmongold, he's been circling the drain recently with his hot takes. No, you don't like it, or no, you want it back. It's too late. You can't just take back what you lost. It's gone now forever. We'll go help out some random dude with their Elden Ring experience. Bring back the video log.
designed to sell 6 million copies or so. Now, we can go and buy indies for 10 to 25 bucks that only need to sell like
By the way, this is
20,000 copies to look pretty
Bellior
okay
News, so
financially. But that middle ground,
if you like the
what
video, you
used
should
to
go
be
check
back
out
in
his
the day,
channel.
the THQ published 8 out of 10 game that had a 12-hour long runtime that you bought in a sale, well, those are the things that have fallen by the
Subterranean
wayside.
shunning
But that's
ground.
what takes me to a disagreement with Sean, or at least
Hey.
another angle. Yes, the market forces of the big publishers disincentivize them from producing the more creatively risky mid-budget games that so many
Tyler
of us would want.
Durden.
But indies can turn to AA. In fact, you can go even
Tyler
if you're
Durden,
Larry,
guys.
You can work yourself into a full,
Ah!
big-scale AAA developer. Another great example is Space Marine 2, actually.
Oh, what am I
Now,
doing?
it is
I'm
an
eating
expensive
crab.
game, but a former id Software exec, Tim Willits, who is now the chief creative officer at Saber Interactive, he said that Space Marine 2 cost under half of what Doom Eternal did to develop, and it's actually outselling
This is a
Doom
really
Eternal.
fun weapon,
So,
actually.
generally, what was AA has retreated. We have lost some scale. We're not
Oh my
getting
god,
it from
Tyler
the same
Durden's gonna
place.
die.
But where Sean talks about a death spiral, creativity,
No!
and
Go away.
suffering, well, yeah, in some places, yeah, in AAA. But I think we've actually gained a lot of distributed creative density.
Yeah.
Which is to say, niche hits that can actually scale absolutely everywhere, just not completely consolidated.
Let's
so
go
Sean is
Tyler
right,
Durden.
there is a deeper problem, but I would say that it's people only seeing AAA or having their attention captured by live services
Have I
to
seen
the point
a
where they stop
game called
finding
Little
indies,
Devil
where
Inside?
they
Oh my
don't
god.
get into the
Too much shit is
alternatives.
going on.
Because what
It's been in development for
on
10
this
years,
top
damn.
does
It's a long time to
exist,
be.
but the solution is not going
It's
to
like
be
Exanima.
PlayStation or Activision or Take-Two reforming themselves. No, the solution is going to be us supporting good games, so the market takes care of the problem, not the executives. And guess what? Trust them.
Oh, this is a heavy weapon. How slow it is. It's strong though. Tyler Durden, this way. Wait a sec, let me go close the. There we go. Why'd it have to be the sewers? The build sucks. Oh my god. This build sucks for the sewers. Oh, my lantern. Why is this guy? This guy's like wearing PvP setup. He's wearing the PvP meta. Woo. Man, this weapon is so weird. It's like I've never used this weapon offhand before. I've only ever used it two-handed. The attack pattern is weird. It looks interesting. What's it about? Is it about the little devil inside you? Or? Is it a good devil? Or is it a bad devil? Is it like a... Uh-oh, we've been invaded by a Flakataffly. Oh god. Where's the thing? There we go. Oh shit. Night Comet. Whee! I'm getting close, watch out! Oh my god, I'm getting close again! Oh my god! Oh my god! I'm so close! Time for my pews! Time for my wizard pews! Oh wait, am I happy? That's my get off my button. Well done. It's about hunting monsters in a Victorian era. Oh, is it like Bloodborne? Kind of? Oh no, wait, that sounds more like Van Helsing. Maybe. Easy. To be honest, it was a 2v1. And Tyler Durden knows what he's doing. This is a meme build, by the way. This build is definitely a meme build. It's not really something in play, seriously. It's going the wrong way. Tyler! Going the wrong way. I should use this Ashe just for like the PvE too, like it's seriously good. Bit OP. Yeah, that's what he gets for playing Night Comet. I'm kidding. I like Night Comet. I'm a Night Comet enjoyer as well. It's scary. Will this interrupt the... Oh shit, that kind of hurt. This is like the worst place to cast this. All my fucking skeletons, man. Scary. Those guys are not easy to kill. Unless you have like a really powerful build. I guess I could do guard counter on those guys, actually. Guard counter could be pretty good here. Does Tyler want to open the gate in case he dies? Mr. Durden? Wow. Oh, okay, so it has a crouch poke. That's nice. I was wondering where's the thrust in this? Wow. Oh, running left click is thrust. I missed. This is a really fun weapon. So strong. I have like minimum stats to use it, and it's like two-shotting everything. Oh shit. Oh no, I'm gonna die here. No, God, oh my god, I almost died. Huh? I'm gonna die. Oh no! What am I doing? I've never been death blighted by those guys. I think I've only been death blighted by them like once before. I forgot that like the animation is so long. What are we watching now? Let's go watch. I don't know. Actually, you know, I should stop watching like Belluar makes me depressed whenever I watched him.
Gamers, can you believe it has been a week since Dragon Age the Veilguard
It's less
launched?
depressing.
Feels like way longer than that, for no reason in particular. Lots to get to this week, but first, why don't we start with some good news? And nothing cheers you up like the promise of a shiny new Nintendo console. The Switch 2 feels like one of those desert mirages at this point. We can clearly see it in the distance, but the closer we get...
You know what, after this co-op, I'm gonna just like stop playing Elden Ring, get some work done. It's too easy to just play Elden Ring. I got stuff to do. Got a game to make. Watch the host just fall into the hole here. That's happened so many times. It's happened to like fellow co-op too. Like we'd reach the hole here and then they just like run in and then fall. Because it's so dark here. Especially if you don't have a HDRI monitor. It's just pitch black here. You think there's like a platform here, but there's not. But there isn't a platform. Oh god. Oh, I thought that my host died for a sec there. I heard like the death sound. Oh, what the hell? That's a hump. Can I use this as a get off me button? Wait. Oops. Didn't switch. Oh. Should be the end there. Oh. Ah! Terrifying. This boss is pretty strong. He's no match against back rolls though. Just back away slowly and roll backwards. And just keep pelting him with shit. He's no match for that. Oh my god. Chris is gonna die. Oh, he's exhausted. Beating up a cripple. He only has one good leg. I'm beating up an old man with one leg. It feels bad, dude. Like, why am I doing this? I thought I had better things to do than. Like, I'm not the role model I was hoping I'd be. He's trying to corner me. Oh, that's a good bleed. Fuck. Out of mana. My skulls circled back. I love tracking in this game. It's like the closest thing to being a summoner. This is the closest Necromancer build, like Diablo 2 Necromancer build I can make. Yay! Well done. I'm glad he didn't die. Usually hosts, they get overconfident when like the aggro is on me and they rush in and then like try to smack him in the butt, but he does like the AoE thing and then like stagger locks them to death. That's how a lot of hosts die against that boss. Overconfidence. Alright. Time to actually get some shit done. Yeah, return to desktop.
to it, the further away it is. We were told again and again and again by leakers that we would definitely see a reveal of the device this year, with many leakers suggesting that it would be shown in September and then October. And now here we are in November with no sign that things are about to change. Still, we do know that it's coming at some point. I mean, the Switch is so old that my air conditioning remote can run games at better resolutions and frame rates. Plus, Nintendo has confirmed that they plan to make an announcement about the console sometime before March next year. To be clear though, the reveal of the Switch 2 is unlikely to be a very big surprise. Based on patents, based on leaks, based on general vibes, we're all but certain that the Switch 2 is very likely going to just be a more powerful Switch, with a similar form factor since you don't fix what ain't broken, except for the Joy-Con drift of course. One big question everyone had though was, will the Switch 2 be backwards compatible? This is something that's become a central question in the modern era as people have begun to amass large digital libraries with the general expectation that they could continue to play those games on future devices. It would be a logical feature to assume, of course, but Nintendo has made no small amount of cash this past generation by re-releasing old games onto the Switch and charging a pretty penny for it while doing it. With so many re-releases and remasters under their belt this past generation, we all wondered if Nintendo would abandon this revenue stream in the next generation. The good news is that yes, they will. Don't take it from me though. Take it from Nintendo boss Shuntaro Furukawa, who tweeted this out while we were all doom-scrolling election updates. Quote, "This is Furukawa. At today's corporate management policy briefing, we announced that Nintendo Switch software will also be playable on the successor to Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Switch Online will be available on the successor to Nintendo Switch as well. Further information about the successor to Nintendo Switch, including its compatibility with Nintendo Switch, will be announced at a later date," end quote. So that's cool, right? We don't have definitive confirmation that digital purchases will be backwards compatible, but I don't think he would have put out a statement like that if that was at all a question. It's great because it means that that huge Switch library you might have amassed this generation will carry over, and we might even begin to imagine the possibility of Switch games running better on newer hardware. I mean, there are a bunch of Nintendo Switch titles hovering at around that like 20 to 25 FPS mark based purely on console throughput, so presumably more powerful hardware will at least lock in solid 30 FPS frame rates in games like Tears of the Kingdom and Echoes of Wisdom. Hell, if the Switch 2 ends up getting AI upscaling as is rumored, we might even see 4K resolution for older titles if developers choose to provide a backwards compatible update. Speaking of Nintendo, they provided a financial update and it definitely reflects the fact that the Switch is on its last legs. Nintendo cut both projected unit sales and overall profit projections, reflecting a roughly 30% decline in both hardware and software sales year on year. Interestingly, digital sales now account for 56.3% of Nintendo's
I thought the Switch was doing well.
And Echoes of Wisdom sold through 2.58 million units, a fairly solid result for what is a very niche Zelda spin-off title. Sticking with the financials a little longer, Microsoft also issued an earnings update, and there were quite a few interesting tidbits in there about how Xbox is tracking. So top line, it's a good news story. Xbox revenue is up 61%, with 53% of that being from the Activision Blizzard King acquisition, meaning that Xbox did achieve some notable organic growth too. Much of that is likely owed to Game Pass doing pretty well, as Microsoft reported that even after a price hike and shuffling around benefit tiers, Game Pass revenue and user counts hit all new records. Interestingly, Microsoft boss Satya Nadella revealed that the launch of Call of Duty Black Ops 6 was the most successful launch in the history of the franchise, resulting in not only a record for day one players, but also a 60% increase in PlayStation and Steam sales year on year, no doubt buttressing the argument for more Xbox games to go multi-platform. That multi-platform goal is clearly something Nadella is committed to. Speaking on the Sterling COD result, he said this, quote, "This speaks to our strategy of meeting gamers where they are and enabling them to play more games across the screens they spend their time on," end quote. Nadella is all in on this stuff because Xbox needs to grow, and they certainly can't rely on their Xbox console sales to deliver that, since they flatlined a long time ago and show no signs of rallying anytime soon. This matters more than ever to the Microsoft boss because, as spotted by Stephen Totillo's GameFile newsletter last week, Nadella's reward package will now be more weighted towards delivering strong Xbox growth. Last year, 10% of his total reward package was dependent on Xbox performance, and this year it'll be 15%. It's only a small difference, but it does suggest that Microsoft are expecting Xbox to grow in this post-Activision Blizzard King acquisition era, and if Nadella hits his mark across all business targets, he'll get to walk away with at least $80 million in compensation. Please remember that number the next time he or Phil Spencer tells you that job cuts are a painful but necessary measure. Turning now to Dragon Age the Veilguard news, the game's been out for just over a week, and with the discourse around it finally starting to die down, we start to have some actual conversations about how this thing actually landed. So obviously we all recall that Dragon Age: The Valguard did very well with critics. Right now on OpenCritic it's sitting at a mighty 81. That's a great result for BioWare, but as I've said on a few occasions, I don't think that a number of those reviews accurately reflect some of the game's core issues, namely the writing, the lack of choice, the PG-13 tone, and some issues with combat depending on how much you're up for what Valguard is putting down. Sure enough, the Steam reviews are quite different. Over there it's sitting at a mostly positive 73% with nearly 15,000 reviews counted, and to be perfectly honest, that's kind of where I expected it to land. You might think, well, aren't a lot of those just troll reviews? And sure, some of them are, but if you take the time to read through them, you'll see that most have very substantive things to say about why they do or do not like Valguard. I'd also encourage you to spend a bit of time on the various Dragon Age and BioWare subreddits, where it's clear that people are very divided about this game. Plenty of threads are saying that they enjoy Valguard for what it is, but plenty of others feel like Valguard is a big disappointment and a real step back for the franchise in many aspects. There's been much debate about how successful Valguard has been commercially, with some people desperate to prove that Valguard is a smashing success, and others desperate to prove that it's like a Concord-level flop. The truth is rather boring, and here it is. Valguard has done fine. It peaked at a concurrent player count of nearly 90,000 people on Steam, which is a great result, but far from the sort of breakout success that EA might have been hoping for. I mean, compare it to Dragon's Dogma 2, which launched earlier this year. That was a far more niche IP and a PC port that was way less optimized, but that still managed to hit over 228,000 concurrent players. Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 also managed to crack the 220k concurrent mark. Point is, 85k is good, but it isn't coming anywhere near the level of success that some of the year's biggest games have achieved. But it's also not so bad that CEO Andy Wilson might have to sell one of his yachts to make up the revenue shortfall. Here's what I think though, and it's similar to what I said at the end of my review. Net, cutting out all the bullshit, I don't think Dragon Age: The Valguard can be classed as a success for BioWare. This is a top-tier, legacy, AAA studio, stewarding some seriously beloved franchises and operating at a very high burn rate for EA. I don't think that Valguard has achieved the sort of commercial success or user critic reception that puts everyone's mind at ease about the future of this studio and the games they're working on. I don't like saying that out loud because, as I've said on many occasions, I want BioWare to survive and thrive, but I think it's just a very matter-of-fact look at the situation, and honestly, I don't know where things go from here. Only EA knows if Dragon Age: The Valguard hit the metrics it needed to hit, and all I can say is that I really, really hope that it did. A quick lightning round to finish off. Star Wars Outlaws has a new creative director. If you're thinking, wait a second, isn't that game already out? Then yes, you are correct. While it's very common for live service games to get a new creative director post-launch, it's highly unusual for it to happen in the case of offline single-player games. Nevertheless, Ubisoft has announced that Drew Reckner has assumed the creative director mantle, while the previous creative director, Julian Garrity, moves over to lead work on The Division 3. Reckner says that Ubi Massive are hard at work on making improvements to Outlaws, which launched to fairly middling reviews but disappointing sales, prompting Ubisoft to not only delay their next big release, Assassin's Creed Shadows, but also announce a company-wide transformation program aiming to restore a focus on quality and innovation. Reckner says that they're focused on improving core game systems, including combat, stealth, and controls, and that's the sort of stuff that probably should have been in tip-top shape before the game launched. Either way, it's good to know that Ubi haven't given up on this one yet, because I think there's a solid experience buried under all that messy gameplay and those terrible facial animations. Atari has just acquired the rights to Transport Tycoon. These were originally the property of Chris Sawyer, who created not only this series, but also Roller Coaster Tycoon. Atari has bought up all of the Roller Coaster Tycoon IP over the years and is now adding the Transport IP to their portfolio. Unclear what they plan to do with it, since the original came out back in 1994 and never got an official sequel, though plenty of other games have tried to deliver the same hit. To this day though, Transport Tycoon remains very respected as a game ahead of its time, so I'm sure plenty of people would turn up if Atari were to get the right team of people behind it. If you were one of the few people playing Apex Legends on your Steam Deck, well, you're not anymore. This week, Respawn blocked access to the game via Linux platforms, including the deck, citing security vulnerabilities. Apparently, it was just too easy for hackers to do their thing on Linux, so Respawn decided to just shut off that valve, pun intended. It's not uncommon to see this, by the way. Quite a few multiplayer games don't run on Linux, as it isn't compatible with a number of anti-cheat technologies. You can, of course, just install Windows on your deck and it'll work fine, but if you want to run it from the native Steam OS, then yeah, you're fresh out of luck.
Windows on your deck.
Check-in time. There's a new House of the Dead movie coming, this one from Paul W.S.
Sounds a bit
Anderson,
painful.
guy behind Resident Evil and that recent Monster Hunter movie. Yeesh. It's being handled by the same production house that's responsible for the Sonic movies, but they seem to be loading up every Sega franchise they can get their hands on, so it's hard to see how all of these movies end up getting released. This one's planning to be in full production by the end of next year though. Will it be better than the 2003 version of House of the Dead directed by Uwe Boll, which sits at a 2 out of 10 on IMDb? Maybe, but let's hope not. We all love a good room-level disaster. The other adaptation announcement is for horror game Outlast, which is getting a film courtesy of Roy Lee, who horror game adaptations make a lot of sense since this is basically the only genre of movie still making money. No dates or specifics for this one just yet. Some quick sales data to top you up. Kingdom Come Deliverance has just surpassed 8 million units sold, a fantastic result for the very ambitious, very worthwhile, historically inspired RPG. A well-timed result, given that the sequel is due out in February next year. I played the sequel briefly at Gamescom, and I loved it just as much as I loved the first one, which is to say a lot. Wishing all the best to Warhorse as they enter the home stretch of development. The Monster Hunter Wild beta happened across all platforms bar Switch over the weekend. We don't have player counts for Xbox or PlayStation, but on PC, the beta peaked at 463,000 concurrent players. Sure, it was a free-to-play open beta, but let's not pretend that isn't an absolutely incredible result that bodes very well for the game's launch prospects.
There's gonna be a lot of players for a while.
It's so huge that Sega brought that Pirate Yakuza game forward by a week just so it wouldn't be anywhere near Monster Hunter's orbit. Pretty smart if you ask me. Here's something I've been waiting to say for a long ass time. Remedy are reporting that the studio has now recouped most of its development and marketing expenses for Alan Wake 2, meaning that one of the best survival horror games ever made has now broken even. As an Epic exclusive, the game had always been severely hamstrung in terms of sales, but on the flip side, Epic have been extraordinary partners to Remedy, and there's every chance that we never would have gotten Alan Wake 2 were it not for Tim Sweeney ponying up the dough. By the way, don't forget the final Alan Wake 2 DLC is out now. It's called The Lake House. I haven't tried it yet, but apparently it's a banger. Call of Duty has now surpassed 500 million units sold across the lifetime of the franchise. To put that in perspective, that's like 2.5 GTA 5s. See? Doesn't sound so impressive now, does it? No, 500 million is still pretty good. And good news for all the Zuck haters out there, Meta's push to create the metaverse is still losing money faster than the mint can print it. $4.4 billion lost in the last quarter alone, and in their earnings report, Meta has warned that future losses are to be even greater.
Man, I should
as they
have
continue to scale their technology.
I should have like joined Meta just to get like the paycheck and then leave. Because I was seeing those jobs pop up everywhere,
$4.4 billion
especially during
in one
COVID.
quarter. Zuck is like the Joker in the Dark Knight with that big burning pile of cash, except all of his investors seem totally cool with
They
this,
should have
like,
burned
really
some of
having
that
no idea
cash
how
on
those
me.
things actually works. So what got announced or delayed last week? Still relatively quiet on this front, but the biggest new announcement is probably Ghost Town, which is a new game by Fireproof Games, the indie team who put together the excellent first-person puzzling series The Room. That game eventually went to VR, and it looks like this team wanted to stay there because Ghost Town is a VR adventure game inspired by 1980s mystery novels. You play as a ghost hunter and exorcist tackling London's restless spirits, while also trying to solve the mystery of your missing brother. Looks neat, no date yet, but it'll be out on all VR platforms. Meanwhile, THQ Nordic teased a new SpongeBob SquarePants game coming in 2025 in a very brief Halloween trailer. Lots of people seem happy with that announcement and how THQ have been handling the SpongeBob video game, so good for them. The Playdate, remember that one? It's that quirky handheld with a crank? Well, they got a new showcase last week where the headline item was that there will be a Playdate Season 2 in 2025. What the hell does that mean? Well, basically, when the Playdate first launched, the console slowly dripped 24 games to owners over 12 weeks, and all those games were surprises, eventually revealing themselves to be little indies made by the creators of games like Katamari Damacy, Getting Over It, Mark of the Ninja, Curse to Golf, and plenty more. The intention was to have lots of people gather around these new games all at once, but the pandemic and all those chip shortages happened, so that didn't quite work out on a scale they'd planned, but now they've got their pipeline fixed, and so it's happening again. No clue as to what's going to be contained in Season 2, but hopefully it'll be good. Moving on to some updates on previously announced games. Beastie Ball is a new game being published by Clay, the folks behind Don't Starve and other games, which is essentially like what if Pokemon, but you were putting together a volleyball team. Seems like a pretty cool concept, and they just announced an early access release date for this one, November 12th. Next up is the epily-inducing, surprisingly competent shooter titled, and this is real, 420 Blaze It 2, a Game of the Year, Dank Dreams, and Goated Memes, WoW out of 11, like and subscribed, Poggers Edition. And we featured this one on your radar a little while back, so you've probably heard that title before. That one just got a release date announcement November 14th, and that's all the time we have for that one, since it takes so long to say the title out loud. Just one game cancellation this week, but it's not at all surprising. Elder Scrolls Legends. This one was trying to get a slice of the Hearthstone pie, but last week it was pulled off Steam completely, and there's now an in-game message saying that the servers will be shut down next year on January 30th. Why is this unsurprising? Well, development for this one stopped as far back as 2019, owing to poor uptake and revenue, and of course, rather than trying to preserve it with some sort of offline mode, Bethesda would rather just delete it entirely. A sad but predictable end for most live service titles, and a trend that we're unlikely to see change anytime soon. So what came out last week? Well, first up, Pokemon trading card game Pocket was launched on Wednesday and absolutely demolished all social media feeds This is basically like the Pokemon Company's answer to Marvel Snap, though card collecting takes an equal amount of precedence to the actual battling. It's free to play, but market intelligence firm Sensor Tower told Stephen Totillo of GameFile that according to its data, the game attracted around $2 million in revenue on its first day of launch from 1.2 million downloads and 2.8 million bucks on its second day. AppMagic's estimates are a bit more lofty though, estimating that it's made $12 million in its first 4 days. The only thing that Pokemon Company has confirmed is that 10 million people have downloaded it worldwide, which is obviously a fair amount of people. Of course, these games live and die by how long people stick with them, so it'll be interesting to track the year ahead. Then again, Pokemon Sleep earned $120 million in its first 14 months. And you don't do jack shit in that game, you literally just sleep. So a card battler probably has a pretty good shot at making some cash. The remastered version of Horizon Zero Dawn also came out on Halloween, and the sentiment we assumed is basically the go here. On OpenCritic, it attracted a mighty aggregate score of 85 from outlets and critics. The 6 Axes gave it an 8 out of 10, summarizing it this way, quote, "It might not have been a wholly necessary overhaul, but there's plenty to like about it, from greater visual depths and details to the majorly improved dialogues," end quote. Well Played also gave it an 8 out of 10 and explained that, quote, "This isn't a mere transposing and uplifting of existing assets with a new performance profile. Instead, Nixxes has basically re-arted the game from top to bottom with new technologies, new environmental detail, textures, animations, camera direction, lighting effects, character models, everything. The result is a game that truly offers a generational leap in visual fidelity and also works from an updated style guide to bring it closer to its sequel in overall art direction. That, to me, is the more noteworthy result of this endeavor," end quote. Over on Steam, however, the sentiment has landed on mixed 1 week in, with players upset about the mandatory PSN login requirement, fair enough, but also remarking on some technical issues too. Some of them visual, but most of them largely pointed to controller issues, which seems to be a bit of a problem. Surprising given how strong Nixxes ports have been to date. Maybe hold out for a patch or two if you were planning on picking this one up. Square Enix's Triangle Strategy was rebuilt for VR and released on MetaQuest last week. Not many reviews from the usual outlets, which is typical for VR games. We know it's a great game in its own right. It's currently at a strong 83 on OpenCritic, and the user reviews on the MetaQuest store seem to be pretty happy with how it's been adapted to VR. Here's one from Kneehawks55 who said, quote, "Great game that works better than expected in VR for half the console price. The only complaint is that cutscenes are 2D over a scroll that functions as a big screen TV," end quote. Another Japanese game that got a second lease on life this week is Shadows of the Damned Hella Remastered, the schlocky action game from Shinji Mikami and Suda51. That one landed at a fair 73 on OpenCritic, with critics quite mixed about the game's 13-year-old gameplay and especially its humor. PC Gamer gave it a 74, saying, quote, "At its best, it reminds me of my youth, where every new game had the potential to be something just as marvelous and ridiculous, self-indulgently fun and self-indulgently stupid. At its worst, it also reminds me of my youth, but more the part where I and everyone else I knew was confused and horny and dealing with that in ways that were not societally recommended," end quote. Special shout out to the PC Games N review, however, which is the only review that Suda51 shared on social media, saying, quote, "They just gave us an awesome review, be sure to check it out, exclamation mark," end quote. Said review gave the game a 3 out of 10, saying, quote, "Shadows of the Damned Hella Remastered is a crude, mean-spirited, and dangerously unfunny trip down memory lane with a grating cast, middling gunplay, and only the most minor of visual enhancements," end quote. So take Suda's endorsement of that view as you will. And finally, Redacted is the new Hades-like isometric action roguelike set in the world of the Callisto Protocol, a smaller project for that team, and it's landing at a strong 75 on OpenCritic, though not too many reviews out at the time of writing. GameSpot scored it a 6 out of 10 with positive sentiment at the end, saying, quote, "There's a good game in here, somewhere in the middle, once you're past the lackluster opening and monotonous ending. Redacted doesn't really expand on the Callisto Protocol universe, but I'm glad it exists. For as flawed as both games are, I still haven't lost interest in seeing more stories from this world, and I hope Striking Distance has a chance to tell them. Redacted just falls short a few too many times," end quote. But wait, there was yet another series that made the genre jump this week. That's Metal Slug Tactics, which transposes SNK's run-and-gun shooter onto the turn-based tactics game format. It's come in at a strong 79 on OpenCritic, with critics praising the always beautiful sprite work of the series and the fact that they've managed to keep the game's fairly brisk pace intact. IGN gave this an 8 out of 10, saying, quote, "Metal Slug Tactics lives up to its Stone Cold Classics namesake from SNK's golden era with its painstakingly detailed pixel art, head-bopping soundtrack, and snappy structure. It magnificently translates the run-and-gun series into its first turn-based tactics game, but doesn't sacrifice substance for cheap nostalgia either," end quote. That one's also on Game Pass this week, if that tickles your fancy. So what's coming out this week? Well, after the big guns last week, it seems like this week is for smaller titles and indie games, and that's a nice thing sometimes. It's all about pacing. But hey, we've also got a Mario game coming, so that's cool. Kicking things off is Planet Coaster 2, which comes out on Wednesday. Planet Coaster was a very competent theme park management game, and it took a while for the dev team to get around to a sequel because they were too busy making Jurassic World management games. The big hook for this sequel is water park attractions, which seem to have gone over pretty well with critics, but they're a little more divided on the management sim aspects. Reviews for this one are already out, and it's landed at a strong 81 on OpenCritic. PC Gamer scored an 80, saying, quote, "There are richer management sims out there than Planet Coaster 2, and if you want a game about spinning plates and sticking more than a few of them back together, I'd sooner recommend either the 2 Points games or the ultimate organizational challenge, Factorio, and its space age expansion. That said, nowhere is the act of building a theme park better represented than in Frontier series, and the sequel's added water attractions unquestionably elevated above the original," end quote. Also coming out on November 6th is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate, which is the co-op Turtles Hades-like that was previously an Apple Arcade exclusive for a full year. That one's headed to PC ahead of a console release a little later this year. It's joined on Wednesday by Lost Eidolon's Veil of the Witch, which launches on Steam in early access. This is a second attempt from the studio Ocean Drive to recreate the tactical RPG flavor of the Fire Emblem series and marry it with a roguelike structure. Worth keeping an eye on that one since the first one got a decent reception. On Thursday, Nintendo was releasing its third Mario RPG in the space of 12 months, but this one is actually a brand new one. Mario & Luigi Brothership continues the comedic series where you control Mario and Luigi simultaneously in turn-based battles and other world-exploring elements. This one sees the brothers take control of a giant ship/island hybrid and sail it around the oceans of Concordia, trying to unite scattered islands. Let's hope this journey with Concord goes a little bit better than the last one. Not for nothing, but Ed's been playing this one and he says it's very charming and engaging, keeping in line with what's come before it. Expect to hear more about that one once
People need to stop naming themselves after a French
a new entry in the excellent Metro series.
airplane
and
that
physical
didn't really
UI was always one of the
succeed
best parts of those games, so
commercially.
it makes a lot of sense that they'd make one for VR, and that's exactly what this is. It is a dedicated VR game, and it's headed to all VR platforms, and I actually do plan to check this one out right after I'm done with Batman Arkham Shadow. Also on Thursday is Taiko no Tatsujin Rhythm Festival for PC, PS5, and Xbox Series. This is Namco's very popular drumming rhythm game, and this version originally came out on Switch in 2022, but weirdly, nowhere else. These new versions have 120 FPS support, however, which is a big deal for reading those really insane note charts when they're going really fast. And speaking of insane, Goat Simulator Remastered rounds out Thursday with a remake possibly more unnecessary than Horizon Zero Dawn. This one promises updated graphics, every DLC, and, quote, more bugs than you can shake a goat at, end quote. This one's out for PC, PS5, and Xbox Series as well. On Friday, Slitterhead hits all platforms bar Switch, arriving 1 week too late for Halloween. This is the new action horror game from Kiichiro Toyama, who is known as the creator of Silent Hill and also the severely underrated Gravity Rush games. He's gone indie now, with Slitterhead being a game where you possess people and use their abilities to hunt down grotesque monsters who have also possessed people and are hiding in society. Kind of like Watch Dogs Legions, but a lot more horrific. Moving on to next Tuesday, November 12th, which features 2 games that Ed is extremely excited about. The first being Rise of the Golden Idol, which is releasing on all platforms, including mobile through Netflix. This is the sequel to The Curse of the Golden Idol, a detective deduction game where you need to prove you know exactly what is going on in a variety of murder scenes, which also won the award for Best Design at the Independent Games Festival at GDC last year. Also on Tuesday is Tetris Forever, the third in Digital Eclipse's Goldmaster series of interactive documentaries about important video games. This one collects interviews, archival materials, and tries to tell the surprisingly complex and drama-filled story of Tetris, while also providing access to a number of rare and hard-to-get versions of the game for you to play. Also included is Tetris Time Warp, which is a brand new 4-player version of the game developed for the collection, which throws you into different iterations of Tetris throughout history. And rounding out this week's releases is the game you've all been waiting for, Farming Simulator 25, which comes out on Tuesday for PC, PS5, and Xbox Series consoles. It is crazy how popular the series is, to be honest, and the People Make Games documentary on the esports scene is well worth watching. Farming Simulator's big new things are a new engine, which is set to hopefully improve the game's all-important weather effects, as well as Asian maps for the first time in the series, which also comes with buffalo farming, as well as the ability to grow rice and spinach. Hell yeah! Looking forward to seeing this one top the sales charts in November. I'm not even joking, by the way. It will actually do that. Bet. Alright, so it's a little weird that Farming Simulator is so popular, but it's not quite as weird as this next one, so put this on your radar.
This Xanima?
This is Death of the Reprobate, and it's like if you took the vibe of Obsidian's Pentiment, but instead of telling a historically accurate narrative, you just wanted to play silly buggers. That is basically what this is, an adventure game pieced together from Renaissance paintings with a crude and surreal sense of humor right out of Monty Python's Flying Circus, We've actually played this one already, and it'll definitely get you laughing within the first minute. It doesn't stop after that. Please, if you don't believe me, go and check out the trailer. The trailer does exactly the same thing. There's like a joke to reward you for each and every click in this game. So if that's the kind of thing you need right now, then definitely put it on your radar for when it releases on Friday, November 8th. If you'd like to throw it on your wish list, you can do so over on our Steam curator page, which also has links to all of the other put this on your radar stuff I've recently covered. I'll leave a link to all of that below the like button. Sort of free stuff time now, and right now, Epic is still giving away the flawed but interesting Ghostwire Tokyo as a freebie. Also available is Witch It, a prop hunt game that'll fill the void while we all wait for the next release from Fantastic. Looking forward to that one, boys. Later this week, Epic are giving us Deceive Incorporated, which is a different kind of hunting game. This one's a competitive multiplayer game where basically everyone is the spy from Team Fortress, and you have to disguise yourself and act like a convincing NPC while trying to identify and take down competing spies with guns and gadgets. Obviously, a game that needs a lot of players to thrive, so fingers crossed this giveaway will help on that front. This game also just released a big update at the start of the month too, so keep that in mind. The first wave of Xbox Game Pass games for November was also announced. It's pretty light on since they were pretty busy with the whole Call of Duty thing. But new additions for the first couple of weeks in November include Metal Slug Tactics and Goat Simulator Remastered, both of which we mentioned earlier, as well as Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, which sounds insane from the previews it's had. Always wish I knew how to play those games. They look really fun. Something different this month is that Xbox are announcing which Game Pass games are being added to the lower standard tier of the service that doesn't get day one releases. This month they're adding 4 indies. Those are Go Mecha Ball, Harold Halibut, The Rewinder, and Turnip Boy Robs a Bank. The PS Plus Essentials lineup snuck in just after we finalized the show last week, but this month they're also giving away Ghostwire Tokyo, as well as the absolutely excellent arcade racing game Hot Wheels Unleashed 2. One brand new game release in the mix as well. It's called Death Note Killer Within. This is yet another multiplayer social deduction game, only this one is based on the super popular anime of the same name. Prime Gaming also kicked off November with its absolutely ridiculous lineup of freebies yet again. Right now, you can get the superb Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, as well as Mafia Definitive Edition. Also great. Dishonored Definitive Edition will also be made available by the time you hear this. That one is an all-timer, and those last 2 games are both good old games codes, so you'll actually own them for good. Later on this month, they'll also be offering Tomb Raider Anniversary, Overcooked, Super Meat Boy, Jurassic World Evolution, and Elite Dangerous. But we'll remind you about those as they come up.
All right, these
Ending
all
off this
free.
segment with another cool freebie. On Halloween last week, Lucas Pope released a new game called Moida Mansion. Like, you know, how like a wise guy says murder. Lucas Pope is, of course, the solo dev behind envelope-pushing games like Papers, Please and Return of the Obra Dinn. This one was surprising because Pope usually takes his sweet time on stuff, and Moida Mansion felt like it came out of nowhere. It's a really fun adventure game where you have to sneak into a mansion, scavenge for items, and rescue your friends while avoiding scary monsters. Only it takes the form of a super old-school LCD Game & Watch style handheld, really outside-the-box thinking, which is what we've come to expect from Pope, and this is a fun one to try out for free over on his itch.io page. Our feel-good story for the week is a pretty crazy one, and honestly, I'm low-key stunned that someone managed to figure this out. So, Silent Hill 2 arrived earlier this month. Great game, my review below the like button if you want to get the full picture on it. Bloober Team were very careful about what they added to the game, with most of it landing really well, but one thing left people very confused. During your playthrough, you'd find various Polaroid photographs laying around, each of them showing something and accompanied by a few words that may or may not relate to what's being shown in the picture. Now, these were not in the original game, and they did not make sense on their own, so the Silent Hill community immediately engaged detective mode, like Batman at a crime scene. Despite myriad theories, no one could come up with a definitive answer as to what these photographs were, until a Reddit user by the name of Dale Robertson busted this thing wide open. So he looked at each photograph and he counted the number of objects in that photo, like 6 windows or 2 vases, etc. He then looked at the caption for each photo and counted the letter that corresponded to the number of items in the photo. So if a photo had 6 windows, for example, he would then count the 6th letter in the caption. He did that for all 26 photos in the game, and when you string all of those letters together, you get a sentence that reads, "You've been here for 2 decades." Now, what's
that's
crazy
creepy.
about this is
What's
that
that?
it's a sentence that works on multiple levels, because it has been 2 decades since Silent Hill 2 first released. So this statement can be taken literally. But in addition to that, there's also been a long-running fan theory.
I should
that
play
James
Silent
is
Hill.
actually
I've
trapped
never
in
really
a
played it
time
before.
loop in Silent Hill, a theory that Bloober Team leaned into in various subtle ways when making the remake. Just in case there was any
another
doubt
one
at
of those
all,
console
Bloober
games
Team's
I've never
creative director
played.
confirmed it all in a tweet saying, quote, "I knew it wouldn't stay hidden for long. There was a theory in our company that the puzzle might be too hard. I really wanted to make it subtle when I was painting those photos. I think the timing couldn't be better for you to solve it. Congratulations," end quote. Congratulations indeed, Dale Robertson. Let's hope we won't be waiting another 20 years for the next Silent Hill entry. Alright, ladies and gents, that's the show for the week. I'm actually working on a PS5 Pro review at the moment since I got the console last week and I've been putting it through its paces. I have mixed feelings on it, to be honest, but I'll talk about that in the review, which will go up over the weekend. So thanks again for stopping by, and a big thanks to this week's sponsor, NVIDIA.
Okay, well, that's basically all I'm gonna watch today. I'm gonna go. I'll be right back. I'll go on some music.
I'm not stupid, it's just a bruise. I promise I won't stop until I'm black and blue. Black, blue, black, blue, black, 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 black and blue. Yeah, I'll never learn to fix my face, it's straight behavior. Shut up! I'll never learn to give up light and live the right way. If anyone says I'm broke, I'm gonna need to shut up. Might be getting my foot up on your right cheek. I'm not stupid, it's just a bruise. I promise I won't stop until I'm black and blue. Black, blue, black, blue, black, 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 black and blue. I never stayed in my lane, I never paid the price. You'll never catch my money, I'd rather die. If you think pain might stop me, I won't be scared to fight. Bring your brass knuckles and black out my eyes. I'm not stupid, it's just a bruise. I promise I won't stop until I'm black and blue. Black, blue, black, blue, black, 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 black and blue. I'm not stupid, it's just a bruise. I promise I won't stop until I'm black and blue.
No doubt that I'm skeptical and I don't sweat nothing technical, and I'm in the zone but the methadone to a predator zone, feel the hella torque, always coming respectable cause my
There's a lot of interesting songs in Cyberpunk.
Running all my secrets, it ain't nothing special. I'm eating all of my vegetables and I'm taking all of you plate ahead. Carrot top, cabbage patch kids, sit you down on my granite top. You ain't saying shit, but we chop it up and we get the stash and we lock it up. Get the keys, jump in the whip, then we dip with it, whipping keys, wholesale the rack and we split the brick. Some ass ain't saying shit, and some ass ain't saying nothing. Lot of cats done came and went, but we still banging, still thugging,
still banging, making hits, still banging, with your bitch, still banging, extra clips, toe tagging, just for kicks, toe tagging for the hell of it, and I be toe tagging, even hell of it, and if you gon' drag me to the pearly gates, I'll bring a 38, I'll make a hell of it, just like boom, blah, 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 boom, blah, blah, boom, blah, 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 boom, blah, blah, boom, blah, 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 boom, blah, blah, boom, blah, 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 boom,
Getting neck, what about a do is show no respect, but I know for a sec nobody gon' dispute. Pop that tech, you probably gon' miss me. Fucking live it, cause I fucking live it. Y'all fucking with it, cause y'all get it. No fucking gimmick. It's just, I smell the deceit in your speech. When it leak through your teeth, you better reap what you sow, or sow all the holes in your cheek. These folks gon' creep through the door, but they too focused on me. My bro gon' reach for your dome and have you soaked to your feet. I mean it. I handle mine, this is something you can't deny. Hand-to-hand transaction is ass whooping, you can't decline. Skinny, look at you, pick appetite of a mastermind. And I'm fucking yo, sorry I had to pass the time. Woo. Hey, I'm too focused on your image, put your life behind these bars, but you can't live out your own sentence, homie. Tell me what the business, put your money where your mouth is. Flip these pancakes and these honeys while I'm yelling no blows, I'm out.
I'm effing awesome, I be chiefing with the rosters. Yeah, I put the sauce to your noodle, making pasta. Live fast, give a rat's ass, crash the bomba. Walking nightmare, right here, I'm a monster. You ain't seen the half, no, you can't hold a quarter. Pounds in the drawer, if you see it, I destroy you. Boogeyman, but I ain't hiding in no closet. I be at the ATM checking for deposits. Shoot to kill, rolling like a Coupe de Ville. Super skills, super duper vicious. The truth to spill. I'm consuming pills, tell my pain to come back another day. Get your girl wet and sticky like the summer rain. Getting Hummer brain in a Hummer gassing like the price is down. Tell them I'm swimming where the cash is. Give me space, space. Big man doing big man things. Sick boy, my whip, same thing. Stick up kid, I need everybody hands up. I'm so disrespectful and this here the anthem. Big man doing big man things. Sick boy, my whip, same thing. Stick up kid, I need everybody hands up. I'm so disrespectful and this here the anthem. Rapping for the heck of it, trapping be the element. All you other yapping getting passed like excrement. Dashing for the presidents, dead ones better than hashing for the presidents. Rapping for the heck of it, always landing. I'm the captain, I'm the pilot. We play hide and seek, she hide a kitty, and I find it. Give me space, space. Big man doing big man things. Sick boy, my whip, same thing. Stick up kid, I need everybody hands up. I'm so disrespectful and this here the anthem. Big man doing big man things. Sick boy, my whip, same thing. Stick up kid, I need everybody hands up. I'm so disrespectful and this here the anthem. I'm riding to the wheel, she putting on some mileage. I bring all the money to the house, then divide it. If you don't see it, don't mean it's not surviving. It just all happens when you looking at your eyelids. Boy rock, like noise coming out garage door. All y'all thuggin' ain't thuggin' what you hard for. Conscious rappers preaching with on they snot pores. All y'all whack, my blade cutting like a lawnmower. Got a lads blowing it, call me a Kennedy. I get more spread legs than a centipede. I be super stubborn, never listen what they telling me. Simply don't care, you could tell it to the rest of these. Please, look, give me space, space, space. chingada. Vamos, vamos, yeah. Cowboy, yeah. Tengo cowboy.
Cállate o te callo.
Vamos a la fiesta, yo quiero rumbear. Yo puedo enseñarte, ya sé cómo bailar. Los pasos son posibles si quieres intentar. El ritmo es la sangre, tú debes escuchar. Mátalo, mátalo, vamos, yeah. Mátalo, yeah. Vamos, vamos, I'm gonna shoot you off, I got a trigger like a gun. Huh, I only take it and shoot it for fun. I shoot everywhere, I shoot holes in the sun. I only take it and shoot it for fun. I shoot everywhere, I shoot holes in the sun.
check him off the list, congratulations. He feeling just to fit in, let's fake it till he make it. No bullshit while I'm operating, I ain't got no patience. The hood I'm trying to get out, well why you trying to get in? Too much pain in my society, it'll turn you to a menace. Locked up in their mind, they already put the bid in. Playing with their life, but you control it to the end. Damn, I hate when it's the youngest end up in the prison. Sitting and waiting, but ain't nobody gon' visit. Trust me on what I say, I don't listen to no critics. Bump this and play this shit, yeah, I bet they gon' feel this. I don't really think they know. Show you better than I can tell you. Could bring the whole to water buzz. A lot of shit happens up in here. I hear a lot of haters talk, they talk, but I don't pay attention to them. Hell no. End up in either jail or in a coffin where I'm from. That's why I gotta get about this hellhole. That's why I be focused on what I focus on. Steady minding my business, see I don't know your own. Keep my head in the streets, still know what's going on. Just one for all my niggas that's still holding on.
Now I'm back for another, let me paint you a picture. Propane in the winter, snowflake in the summer, no cake and for dinner. Can't hang, hit a chin up, stay praying on a sinner. Whoa, whoa, if I make it, it's a winner. Put a Frank on my shit, let it bang in the whip. I don't break hits for nothing. Ayy, Zaddy keep on tapping that percussion. Ayy, Flyboy, he the shit that keep him buzzing. Ayy, would I even say it if he wasn't? Y'all don't hear me though. Ayy, got the cuts, y'all ain't here before. Ayy, that's what's up, keep it on the low. Ayy, see my brain like a crystal ball. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Get down when I'm around because of sound. Go, 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 go. Show that ass, go, go, go. Show that ass, go, go, go. Show that ass, clap on that ass, clap, throw it back. I've been thinking for a minute from beginning to the end and how I'm ever gonna finish. Yeah. Then I started thinking physics, started moving like a psychic. I envision how to live it. Don't make money my religion. Keep faith in my decisions. Whoa, whoa. Put the key in the ignition. Octane in the engine. Go, go. Gotta see, gotta know, gotta leak, gotta plug. I don't need any dough, yeah, yeah. I just need with my hands, let it bake in the stove. Now the team finna blow up. Yeah, yeah, that's me talking. Cracks in the street, that's me walking. Flash on the beat, that's me jogging. Snap on that ass, clap, throw it back. Yeah, hey, get down when I'm around because of sound. Go, 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 go. Show that ass, go, go, go. Show that ass, go, go, go. Show that ass, clap on that ass, clap, throw it back.
it's evident. Living off of presidents, dead and young. Maybe killing, taking care of witnesses. Handling Abagio, sweeter than Bellagio. Bellagio, well, help me with my cardio. Head to toe in Cartier. Sipping, Marino. Now we feeling Chardonnay. Orders they go Champignon. Don't the bouillon Chardonnay. Sip this shit and Perry Porter. Better check your resume. New blooded, old money. Crewed up, zoning, toning. Boot cuts and snow bunnies. Nose runny, I stay grinding. Doing dirt, boy, I stay grimy. Doing work like it's no money. Catching wreck, that's the J.O. Whip it like it's mayo. Grilling on this queso, getting peso by the payo. Talking buckets, boy, you cotton mouth. It's no discussion, I ain't saying nothing, I'm just talking loud. Slap.
100 on the dash. Dash on 100, I got something for that ass. Knuckle full of steel. Peel back a sucker, I got something for your grill.
See, I got Benji in my denim, never stingy. How I spend them, hearing whispers of his wisdom, wishing you can get this vision. Wildin' on this island, while I'm writing silver linings, you blow flooded by the diamond. I'm impeccable with time. I'm seeing from the bottom to the top. I'm a problem that you won't stop. Red dot 'em till they drop. Too much talk about one shot to be running around trying to get it. Tell them bound for that business. Large amount to her britches. Hashtag for my missus. See it's new blood and no money. Pia dope, so you know a stampede of snow bunnies. These hoes coming, I won't stop it. Keep it running like a broke faucet. No middleman, I want the whole profit. Promise that mama, I really been on a mission. Me giving a fuck, there's something that y'all ain't getting. Me giving it up, there's something that y'all
the challenge, I'm bringing the talent, I'm flowing quicker than Spanish. Got the advantage and now you're falling behind. Till I vanish, I managed to make you panic. I'm hard to follow, nobody's got a shadow that's taller than mine. Got this rap shit down to a science, and my alliance is always define the laws of the language. We only alphabet vowels and consonants are reclines. We rapping giants and we mastering English. Don't be negative bitches because we came with the vicious explicit vocals that be scaring them locals. We gon' be making the riches and you be tasting delicious flavors of music. Just put it up in your blowholes. Let it into your veins, soak up into your brain. Taking the pain while it's painting a picture. I'm never gonna refrain till everybody's the same. Breaking your spirit with my lyrical scripture. Never will I doubt, never will I doubt, never will I doubt, never will I doubt, doubt. Never will I doubt, never will I doubt, never will I doubt, never will I doubt, doubt. Never will I doubt, never will I doubt, never will I doubt, doubt, doubt. Never will I doubt, never will I doubt, never will I doubt, doubt. Real, unstoppable, like a force to be reckoned with, a motherfucking G on the track. The directorate, if you think you gotta get off your porch, is a step through it. No obstacle ever set us back. No prerequisite prepares you for the overwhelming show. We throwing, we overflowing a golden talent in you till you feel a presence in your bloodstream like potent opiates, intense like a sunbeam. We ain't quitting soon, I spit game forever until Armageddon severs my spirit, then buries my body in the desert. But never will I die for real. My lyrics are bomb when you're hearing this song. When I spill the shit, my rhymes are ill. That's why they're feeling it like California feels and earthquakes. We really didn't gut it to the meals on your plate. Guaranteed fresh, always pleasing in your taste. Never fucking around, we finish easy in first place. Never will I doubt, never will I doubt, never will I doubt, never will I doubt, doubt. Never will I doubt, never will I doubt, never will I doubt, never will I doubt, doubt. Never will I doubt, never will I doubt, never will I doubt, doubt, doubt. Never will I doubt, never will I doubt, never will I doubt, doubt, doubt. I live my life patiently waiting for opportunity. When it comes, I'ma take it. People test me every day to play in my potential. I swear bullets says I need credentials. It's a real life essential. So guidance to violence is fake mental. Head to the thought of flashback is opening eyes of my game face on. Am I half that wham? Then it all just hit me. I just have myself an epiphany. Even for the rock off war for victory. Soon we can be Bon Jovi's Tiffany. Laughing at the wannabe singing sad symphonies. Battling and nobody's talking another with me. I'm another soldier in the California infantry. We gon' global, be fame, more infamy. People from every continent listening. Picture with top screaming and whistling. Yes, some motherfuckers say that I'm dreaming. They say that I'm living a life without meaning. Feel disrespected, rushing on my shoulder like a soldier. It's going to battle when I'm older. Or look back and laugh at you weak man fools being burned. They heard it like cattle. Never will I doubt, never will I doubt, never will I doubt, never will I doubt, doubt. Real. Never will I doubt, never will I doubt, never will I doubt, never will I doubt, doubt. Real. Never will I doubt, never will I doubt, never will I doubt, doubt, doubt. Real. Never will I doubt, never will I doubt, never will I doubt, doubt, doubt. Real.
Look, mama out just tripping, gotta make it out the bullshit. Dope all in my sock, I'm trying to make it double too quick. If you trying to talk, it should be money, no excuses. Trill Illuminati, Illuminati on the lumens. Riding on the wider body, no fatties. Hyper focus on the paper, no addies. Lima styrofoam with the red. Moving real slick, getting sly on the feds. Oh, they don't wanna know, they don't wanna go. Tell them all, back. You don't wanna see me close. Got a few backpacks, all depending on the dope. Prada, Gucci, Fendi, damn, like we both got matching clothes. Killers moving silent, riding like a hybrid. Pull up like a birthday and hit them with surprises. You gon' need the first aid and medical supplies, boy. Knock your ass back to a different time, boy. What you looking at? Tell me what you looking at. I be cooking up, east side where I do it at. What your problem is? Tell me what your problem is. Trust me, you don't want it with the problem, kids. What you looking at? Tell me what you looking at. I be cooking up, east side where I do it at. What your problem is? Tell me what your problem is. Trust me, you don't want it with the problem, kids. Young gon' get him some, Huns no set at once. Come up, never down. Drugs gon' keep me up. Run some cheddar like string cheese. Going to the money, then bring me. Long Beach, True City, I'm gypsy. So grimy, but my fit hit 6Gs. Ride so they see me, I'm flying in a crit. Satellite high, I'm higher than a blimp. Big money, eat Italian with the shrimp. Thin chicks, big hips, all baddies give me lip. Misfit, hits big time, knock it out the park. Yo chick, hits a line and sliding after dark. Feds wanna get at me, celebs wanna get at me. I'm the plug like electricity. I go numb off 3 O's, kidding me? I need 3 more before it's hitting me. What you looking at? Tell me what you looking at. I be cooking up, east side where I do it at. What your problem is? Tell me what your problem is. Trust me, you don't want it with the problem, kids. What you looking at? Tell me what you looking at. I be cooking up, east side where I do it at. What your problem is? Tell me what your problem is. Trust me, you don't want it with the problem, kids. Tomorrow I'm copping. I stay with the leaders, sipping with my leaders. All of y'all be tripping, I be tripping with a diva. I'm gonna ride it, they calling me. iPhone I go with $1 be. Nothing and nobody stopping me. One way or the other, I get what I want. No. I'ma run the block. I'ma run the block. You could never do this. You could only watch. I'ma run the block. I'ma run the block. You could never do this. You could only watch. I get in and get out, I'm hitting licks. These are all hits, you just hit and miss. I be a rapper, you Christmas gift. I smoke a pack, you just wish you did. Damn, I keep a tool on my waist. I am no fool to the game, no. I got the clues, they be way close. Wherever I step is a safe zone. Blowing up, me and my squad, we be blowing up. I pack the heat, then I'm showing up. Blowing the trees like a wind when October come dropping the fire. Got gas in here. Actually, gas broke past it here. They know my odor is bad in here. Trying to go out to the stratosphere, balling the planet shit. I'ma run the block. I'ma run the block. You could never do this. You could only watch. I'ma run the block. I'ma run the block. You could never do this. You could only watch. Get money. Don't do nothing else. Been a long time since I felt. Can't go down that sound. I'm the one like a suicide. I don't do nothing else. Been a long time since I felt. Can't go down that sound. We living through a fine line in the middle of the guide and a little bit of fire in the middle of the shine. When you get a little time from a little bit of rise, a little bit of crime and a little bit of line intentions. No matter over time, don't say shit. If you know the code, don't go out.
positive earth.
Tension in the streets as fates collide. The wind is waking dream. You have closed your eyes. There was a fate to take the things that we knew.
these cities' mazes, ripping stages, getting faded at my neighbor's crib. We drank and shots from tequila shakers, think I'm wasted. Wolves out and the rum's red, bunch of motherfucking warriors versus undead. Bitch, you looking at the new me, evolution at its best. Every verse I write is acid raining down on doubters' necks. And I'm creeping on you like a wine spritzer. Nah, nigga, ain't a wine sipper. All these niggas do is wine bitching when I'm pie flipping. They side switching, I be prize winning when I flow. Niggas know, everybody know I've been a pro, so I'ma be professional with you. I'm a dick, but I never leave my testicles with you. Cross bitches, I'm finessing these niggas, shitting on them. I got gastrointestinal issues. Just you still in a bucket with the crabs. I just hit a savage lick and secure the bag, nigga. Yeah, I'm going ape again. Moon's lit, let the blood shed. I was in the woodshed, cooking up some tunes, something stupid. I'ma make them eat they words, swallow all the shit you talk. Bitch, niggas bark, but you shook to ever get involved. Now I gotta kill them all. It ain't nothing personal, it's just business, dog. Real talk, this gorilla walk. Gorilla walk, knuckles dragging, bitch, gorilla walk. Gorilla walk, knuckles dragging, going ape again. Ape again, knuckles dragging, going ape again. Ape again, motherfucker, this gorilla walk. Gorilla walk, knuckles dragging, bitch, gorilla walk. Gorilla walk, knuckles dragging, going ape again. Ape again, knuckles dragging, going ape again. Ape again. fastest waves. Black magic will turn you into ashes, ayy, turn you into dust. Listen up, you heard the jig is up. Promethazine inside of sippy cups. Grip a blicky that can probably flip a motherfucking city bus. Finish up, ho, I'm in a rush. Yeah, I'm cooking on a spoon hop. Told them I'ma soon pop. Nigga, I be higher than a space cadet on moon rocks. Think I need a flu shot, and I got a few ops. BMs in my DMs, guess I got a couple new thoughts. Pulling bitches ever since I was a first grader. Right around that time I got my very first hater. Niggas play gangster, strike him out of anger. Hanging with his donkey booty, thought he watching Neighbors. And look, if you don't show me mad respect, I'ma snap your neck like a skater when he cracks his deck. You ain't heard me and you missing out. Yeah, you really missing out. If you ain't heard me yet, you missing out. Yeah, you really missing out. If you ain't heard me yet, you missing out. Yeah, you really missing out. If you ain't heard me yet, you missing out. Hey, you really missing out. I'm just an angry old vet. I'm aiming straight for your head. Ain't got no reason speaking to you if we ain't breaking no bread. I got demons, I got ops trying to erase all my blessings. Dealing with PSTD, anxiety, and depression. Permanently, I'm damaged. Back when we met, I was manic. Niggas caught me lacking, was too busy chasing the dragon. On some bullshit, you can miss me. Your music ain't in cheap. Your latest disc is good as a frisbee. Ways wicked till they nail me to an iron cross. A nigga with lion paws, big dick, giant balls. Been wrestling with the thought of suicide, I'm lost. I get a lot of envy from the aura I give off. I'm the type to put my balls on your side, bro. Y'all be listening to music with your eyeballs. Gold watch on my wrist, bubble on my face. Want my money on the double, I don't come for play. Want my money on the double, want my money on the double, want my money on the double, I don't come for play. Want my money on the double, want my money on the double, want my money on the double, I don't come for play. Want my money on the double, want my money on the double, want my money on the double, I don't come for play. Want my money on the double, want my money on the double, want my money on the double, I don't come for play. Ooh, fucking nerds must have struck a nerve. One of these little motherfucking thirst buckets learn. You ain't a killer, you just a baby gorilla. Fuck around and catch a shell like armadillo. You soft as jello, amaretto sour in my cup. The power up, we doing titty bumps. Shots of 151 rum, nose powder make the strippers come. Ho, white grams go for $60. Look, no more hunger pain. A nigga trying to eat like bodegas and delicatessens. Love killing backpackers with lack of direction. No one cares about your message, kicking knowledge from back to the essence. No more hunger pain. A nigga trying to eat like bodegas and delicatessens. Love killing backpackers with lack of direction. No one cares about your message, kicking knowledge from back to the essence. Want my money on the double, want my money on the double, want my money on the double, I don't come for play. Want my money on the double, want my money on the double, want my money on the double, I don't come for play. Want my money on the double, want my money on the double, want my money on the double, I don't come for play. Want my money on the double, want my money on the double, want my money on the double, I don't come for play. No more hunger pain, a nigga trying to eat. No more hunger pain, a nigga trying to eat. No more hunger pain, a nigga trying to eat. No more hunger pain, a nigga trying to eat.
Guys, I'm probably gonna call the stream here. It's been 3.5 hours. Usually I stream more, but it's the week. It's the weekday. So I'll catch you guys later. Okay, we'll work on this. We'll work on this. Smooth out the bone kind of popcorn ceiling texture out